GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. I'm Jordan Parker. Tonight we'll unpack the alarming weapon assault on a TTC bus driver at Wilson Station and check in on the overnight fire that left 2 women injured in North York. Traffic's moving with only minor delays, and the Summer Music Festival kicks off at Corktown. Over to you, Nathan.
The Toronto Summer Music Festival kicks off this Saturday, presenting 3 days of outdoor concerts across Harbourfront Centre, featuring indie, jazz, and world music acts.
All performances are free to the public, and the festival offers a family-friendly schedule with designated kids zones and food trucks operating near each stage.
Over 50 local and international artists will appear, supported by more than 300 volunteers who help implement the festival's zero-waste initiatives throughout the venues.
Tickets aren't required, but you can reserve a spot via the festival app. Lots to get to, let's begin. Good morning, Toronto.
Yesterday evening at 6:29 p.m., a Toronto Transit Commission bus driver was attacked with a weapon at Wilson Station, near the intersection of Wilson Avenue and Bathurst Street in North York. The assailant's actions prompted an immediate response from the Toronto Police Service, which secured the scene and began an investigation. The driver was escorted to a nearby hospital where doctors confirmed the injuries were not life-threatening. The driver remains in stable condition and will be monitored before returning. TTC officials released a statement emphasizing that safety of staff and riders remains a top priority and that they are cooperating fully with police. No further details about the suspect have been released. Police are reviewing CCTV footage to identify the attacker, and service disruptions were limited to a brief delay on the affected route.
Firefighters and police responded to a blaze that erupted in the early hours at a Toronto community housing apartment on Victoria Park Avenue in North York. The alarm sounded just after 1:52 a.m., and crews from the Toronto Emergency Services arrived within minutes. 2 women were rescued with injuries that required hospital treatment. Toronto community housing officials confirmed the structure is part of the complex that suffered a fatal fire less than 2 weeks ago, raising concerns about safety across the site. The earlier fatal fire, which killed 1 resident, occurred less than 2 weeks earlier at the same address. Police are treating the incident as a criminal investigation, while the fire department continues to assess the damage. Residents have been evacuated as authorities secure the building and determine the cause. The city has pledged to support those displaced while the investigation proceeds.
Tourism Calgary has turned a downtown Toronto subway station into a splash of Western Prairie flair. Today the station's walls and platform displays are bathed in the deep blue and bright copper hues that echo the Bow River and Rocky Mountain sunsets, while new signage spotlights Calgary's attractions, from the Calgary Stampede to the nearby Banff National Park. The pop-up visual campaign is part of a broader effort to steer Torontonians toward a summer road trip up to Alberta's foothills. Officials say the installation will stay in place for several weeks, giving commuters a daily reminder of the city's outdoor lifestyle and cultural events. The project, coordinated with the Toronto Transit Commission, aims to boost awareness of Calgary as a travel destination while adding a vibrant, temporary art piece to the city's transit network.
Janelle Salon came off the bench yesterday and poured 26 points to push the Golden State Valkyries to an 83-75 victory over the Toronto Tempo. The win marked the Valkyries' 6th straight triumph, extending their streak while the Tempo played with a short bench. Salon's burst came in the second half, turning a tight contest into a comfortable margin. Toronto fans heard the home crowd cheer as the Valkyries closed the game with a steady defensive stretch, forcing the Tempo into turnovers. The coach praised the bench contribution as key to maintaining momentum. The Tempo, despite a strong start, fell short by 8 points. The triumph moved the Valkyries to an unbeaten run of 6 games this season, reinforcing their league position. The squad will look to carry that energy into its upcoming matchup.
Yesterday, the Ontario Superior Court of Justice heard that the bulk of charges stemming from the Project South inquiry will proceed directly to trial. The prosecution disclosed that 6 civilian defendants and the majority of police officers face immediate trial, while only 1 officer will not follow that path. Project South, a multi-year investigation into alleged ties between Toronto police and organized crime groups, has generated a raft of accusations of corruption and illicit collaboration. The charges arise from that probe into police corruption and organized crime links. Court officials noted that the decision to move most cases forward without preliminary hearings reflects the strength of the evidence gathered over several years. The hearing took place at the downtown Toronto courthouse, and the court set the upcoming trials to begin in Toronto over the coming months.
Later we'll hear how a pellet gun attack left 1 person seriously injured at Woodbine Beach, plus more top news. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive straight into the headlines that matter, then Nathan will bring you the top local stories you need to hear.
1 seriously injured in pellet gun assault at Toronto's Woodbine Beach. Toronto Police Service confirmed that a person was assaulted with a pellet gun at Woodbine Beach along the Martin Goodman Trail just before 11 p.m. On July 8, emergency crews responded to the scene, administered first aid on site and transported the victim, who sustained serious injuries, to hospital for treatment. Police officers secured the area, began a criminal investigation, and temporarily closed the beach while processing evidence. Detectives are reviewing surveillance footage and interviewing witnesses as part of the search for the suspect involved. No arrests have been made at this time, and police have not released a description of the suspect. The investigation is being coordinated with the city's major incident response team and remains ongoing.
Ontario's opioid crisis is shifting. A public health researcher in Thunder Bay outlined why the province's opioid-related death toll is falling even as 911 calls about overdoses climb. The analyst pointed to expanded naloxone distribution, more people entering treatment, and improved reporting as key drivers of the mortality decline. At the same time, heightened public awareness and use of emergency services are fueling the surge in overdose calls. Despite the provincial drop, Thunder Bay still records the highest fatality rate in Ontario, underscoring a local disparity that residents feel in their neighborhoods. Families across the province are watching these trends, as the rise in emergency calls signals that overdoses remain a reality even while fewer lives are lost. The researcher also noted that improved data tracking helps identify hotspots faster, prompting quicker dispatches. For commuters who rely on ambulance response, the growing call volume could mean longer waits during traffic hours.
Toronto's MLS clubs celebrated a notable milestone yesterday, when midfielder Richie Laryea and goalkeeper Maxime Crépeau earned spots on the league's 29-player All-Star roster. Both players were highlighted for their recent contributions to Canada's FIFA World Cup squad, underscoring the growing impact of homegrown talent on the international stage. The All-Star lineup, unveiled by Major League Soccer, features a mix of league veterans and rising stars, with Laryea and Crépeau representing the league's Canadian contingent. Their selections arrive as the league prepares for its mid-season showcase, a high-profile event that draws fans from across the region. Local supporters can look forward to seeing the 2 athletes join the elite group on the field, bringing a taste of World Cup experience to the upcoming exhibition. Their inclusion also boosts the profile of Toronto's own soccer scene, offering young players a clear example of how domestic performance can lead to league-wide recognition.
Yesterday, the Toronto Raptors confirmed they have added veteran forward Kyle Anderson to the roster. Anderson, known for his versatility and steady play, joins a squad looking to deepen its bench as the season pushes forward. The move gives Toronto a player with experience in both scoring and defense, offering coaches more options in the front court. Fans will see Anderson suit up for home games at Scotiabank Arena, where his hustle and basketball IQ are expected to blend with the team's fast-paced style. The signing comes after a busy offseason of roster tweaks, and the front office said the veteran's work ethic aligns with the club's culture. With Anderson in the mix, Toronto hopes to stay competitive through the grind of the regular season. He previously contributed to the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers, averaging double-digit points and solid rebounding.
Yesterday, a rally gathered outside the Premier's office in Etobicoke, Toronto, as demonstrators voiced concerns over the province's newly created regulator for personal support workers. Protesters carried signs and chanted, arguing the body could add costs and bureaucracy for families relying on home care. The gathering formed part of a broader series of demonstrations that have targeted Premier Doug Ford and his administration's recent policy moves. Organizers said the regulator, announced earlier this year, threatens the availability of workers and could undermine the quality of care for vulnerable residents. Police reported a peaceful protest with no arrests, though traffic on the surrounding streets was temporarily slowed. The demonstration underscores ongoing public scrutiny of the government's approach to health care staffing and regulatory reform. Many Torontonians rely on personal support workers for daily assistance, making the regulator's rules a direct concern for households across the city.
Let's get a look at your afternoon forecast with our meteorologist today.
A deepening low draws a western jet, setting the stage for late-day showers across the greater Toronto area. On this date, Toronto's record high stands at 34.7 degrees, set in 2007 during an unprecedented heat wave that pushed the city into the mid-30s for several days. The record low is 14.5 degrees, recorded in 2022 when a sudden Arctic dip chilled the lake effect region. Normal mid-July highs hover around 26 degrees with lows near 22, so today's 25 feels comfortably between the extremes. That contrast highlights how the current unsettled pattern is neither a record breaker nor a typical summer lull. The live radar shows a band of light rain marching eastward from the western lake shore, currently brushing the Niagara corridor. The western jet at 66 km per hour is steering the moisture toward the city, with showers expected to arrive just after noon. The heaviest cores will deepen around 10 p.m. as the system deepens, then dissipate as the low moves east and the jet shifts northward, leaving clear skies after midnight. At noon, the city sits under a mostly clear sky with a temperature of 25 degrees and a dew point near 23, making the air feel humid. A gentle southwest breeze at 11 km per hour keeps the surface mixed, while the falling near-average pressure signals an incoming disturbance. Overhead, the western jet streams at 66 km per hour, nudging the upper-level trough eastward. As the low approaches, clouds will thicken, bringing a light drizzle by early afternoon and overcast conditions through the evening. Temperatures will climb to a high of 28 before slipping to 23 after sunset. The UV index reads 7. Winds will gust to 22 km per hour from the southwest, still below the gust threshold. No weather alerts are active, so the public can stay aware of the approaching rain. Looking ahead, Friday brings a high of 24 and a low of 20, with clear skies and a lingering high-pressure ridge keeping the air dry. Saturday remains pleasant at 25 highs and 18 lows, the ridge still dominant. Sunday follows a similar pattern, 25 degrees at its warmest and 17 at night, offering another stretch of sunshine. Monday the tide turns as the low that arrived tonight deepens, delivering scattered rain and a modest 20% chance, with temperatures hovering around 26 and a low near 19. Tuesday spikes to a scorching 31 degrees, the highest of the week, while humidity eases and the sky stays mainly clear. The jet stream will shift north, allowing a return to more settled conditions by midweek. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic's minor delays, the Toronto Summer Music Festival lineup, and the Blue Jays All-Star break woes. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Elevator at Victoria Park Station is out of service, and escalators at Kennedy, Don Valley, and Mount Dennis stations remain offline, limiting accessibility for riders heading downtown this morning. Don Valley also lost an escalator and an elevator, while Don Mills and Leslie stations each have an escalator out. Riders who rely on those machines should plan extra time or use nearby stairs. On the roadside, there are no accidents in all major arteries, including the Gardiner, Don Valley Parkway, Highway 401 and the Queen Elizabeth Way, are moving freely. Ongoing signal upgrades at 72 sites and smart signal installations at 246 locations are proceeding without causing noticeable slowdowns, so commuters can expect a smooth ride through the afternoon. Transit adds a few extra options: an additional Dufferin Express bus on Route 929, extra King streetcar service for the match today, and more buses on the 63 Ossington route. Those enhancements should help offset the station outages.
Toronto Summer Music Festival kicks off today at Walter Hall, with concerts streaming all day, perfect for a midday break and a chance to hear the city's top talent. The festival's new artistic direction promises fresh sounds you won't want to miss. In the West End, TOPS rolls out Wildhood at Corktown Common, an open-air cinema paired with live music that turns the park into a summer night lounge. It's a relaxed way to catch a film under the stars while the city buzzes around you. Looking ahead, the Toronto International Film Festival will open with the world premiere of Being Human, a biopic that's already generating buzz. Mark your calendars for the festival's kickoff later this month. And for tomorrow night, Fiction hosts Where She At? Ladies' Night, a free entry DJ set that guarantees dancing and a vibe just for the crew. Grab a friend, hit the dance floor, and keep the weekend rolling. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Here's the latest on Toronto's teams as the summer season unfolds. Sportsnet's At the Letters podcast highlights that the Blue Jays are wrestling with several issues as the All-Star break nears. Hosts Ben Nicholson-Smith and Arden Zwelling flag concerns about the trade deadline outlook and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s ongoing slump, suggesting the club faces a pivotal stretch. Following a rookie season that earned all rookie honors, the Raptors are set to stretch Colin Murray-Boyles in his second year. Michael Grange explains that Toronto will lean on the Summer League to push him out of his comfort zone and broaden his skill set. Analysts Jamie Campbell and Caleb Joseph break down the Blue Jays' recent victory over the San Francisco Giants, crediting Dylan Cease's aggressive attack mode for unlocking a dominant outing on the mound. The discussion underscores how Cease's approach sparked momentum in the win.
Greenshield just opened its new downtown Toronto headquarters in the Commerce Court South Tower, bringing 700 staff under one roof. The national nonprofit healthcare and insurance organization says the move marks a key phase of its growth, consolidating teams that were scattered across the city into a modern, green-focused workspace. The building's open-plan design and wellness amenities aim to foster collaboration and better serve Ontarians' health needs. For the surrounding financial district, the influx of employees means more foot traffic for local cafes, a boost to transit ridership, and a tangible sign that Toronto's health sector is investing in its own neighborhood. Greenshield's presence reminds us that a healthier city starts with people working together right here at home. And finally, Greenshield is celebrating the opening of its new Toronto office, uniting 700 employees under one roof. Stay tuned.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on gmna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Six-time All-Star Kyle Lowry will close out a 20-year NBA career with a one-day contract ceremony at Scotiabank Arena, turning the iconic venue into a farewell stage for the beloved Raptor. We've got live on the scene for the final salute. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. The roar of 1,000 fans still echoes as I stand on the polished hardwood of Scotiabank Arena, the arena lights glinting off the freshly polished court. A banner bearing Kyle Lowry's number hangs above the center, and the smell of popcorn and fresh turf fills the air. Today, Lowry steps onto the floor for a single ceremonial game day contract, a symbolic one-day deal that will seal his retirement as a Toronto Raptor. He shakes hands with the arena staff, his jersey number 30 being lifted for a quick photo as he smiles, his eyes scanning the sea of familiar faces. Former teammates line the bench, some with tears, others with grins, remembering the 9 seasons they shared, the championship night in 2019 that still feels like yesterday. The crowd rises for a standing ovation, chanting his name, a tribute to a 20-year NBA journey that began in Cleveland and found a home here. In that brief pause, a city celebrates the return of a hometown hero whose grit defined a generation. Carl Dumont virtually at Scotiabank Arena.
On a crisp Saturday afternoon on the streets surrounding BMO Field, the usual rush of commuters gave way to a sea of red and white scarves as families, students and longtime fans queued at the TTC stop. The driver at the front of the east-west route lifted his visor, smiled, and shouted a friendly reminder that extra streetcars were rolling in for the upcoming World Cup matches. Inside the glass-paneled carriage, a young girl clutched a handmade banner that read Toronto 2026. While an older couple shared a laugh over a shared Tim Hortons coffee, both marveling at how the city's transit network had expanded to meet the surge. Over the next few weeks, ridership on the lines that serve BMO Field and Exhibition Place jumped 42% compared with the previous year, a testament to the community's enthusiasm and the TTC's quick response. That surge turned ordinary commutes into shared celebrations, reminding everyone that a simple ride can become a moment of collective pride. It's moments like these that remind us why we love our city.
On a bright Saturday morning at the historic St. Lawrence Market, I met Maya and her 2 children as they stepped out of a modest 1-bedroom unit that had just become affordable thanks to the latest drop in asking rents. Across the street, a longtime landlord, Mr. Patel, was handing a fresh lease to a young couple who had been waiting months for a price that fit their budget. The national trend, asking rents falling more than 4% year over year and marking the 21st straight month of decline, has been most pronounced in British Columbia and Ontario, while the Atlantic provinces are seeing a modest rise. For families like Maya's, the dip means the difference between a cramped basement and a bright kitchen where her daughter can do homework without the hum of a shared wall. For landlords, it signals a steadier turnover and a chance to build longer-term relationships with tenants. The ripple effect is already visible in the cafes and community centers that are seeing more regular faces and quieter conversations. It's a reminder that when the market eases, the city breathes a little easier too.
Thank you, Toronto, for joining us on the lunch break. Today's highlight was the Calgary tourism campaign that turned a downtown subway station into a colorful showcase for visitors. We appreciate your trust in our coverage and look forward to bringing you more stories tomorrow. See you then.